Here we go, another episode of Musematic Podcast, and today we are so happy to have on the show Mr. Junior Tomlin. Welcome to the show, Junior.
And thanks for having me.
Oh no, thanks for coming on, mate.
It's a pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure, and then we'll get straight into the questions. When did you first kind of like your interest in really kind of like drawing and stuff? And I know I've seen in some other interviews, and again, people call you the Salvador Dali of flyers, which I kind of totally agree with. But as a kid, when was the sort of age where you really started enjoying drawing and realised that it was something that you had a passion for?
First when I was like, I was 8 or 9, because I grew up with like 60s television. You know, lovely things like Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Wow. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yes. Anything by Irwin Allen.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and Time Tunnel.
Oh, absolutely,
man. The Giant.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember all those shows, and actually, I have some pretty fond memories of Sundays. Sundays were always, you'd have, like you say, Lost in Space and those kind of weird old retro shows. That's awesome. Like I say, just saying Lost in Space, that one right there. Danger, Will Robinson, I'll never forget, the robot basically had some ducting for his arms.
Oh, I think I remember that, yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm only 30, so...
Yeah.
I think they based them loosely on like Robbie the Robots.
Yeah.
Because Robbie the Robot looked like, you know, a cauldron with like big rounded arms.
Yeah, right. You know what's actually quite funny, even bringing up Lost in Space. So, and again, this is totally sidetracking, man, and taken away from our conversation. But me and Brad live in Vancouver, and there's quite a big film industry here. A lot of movies get filmed here, a lot of TV shows get filmed here. And I actually was going to go and work on the remake of Lost in Space.
Is that the series or the remake?
Yes, they made a series. I've got photographs actually, Junior. I have to send them over to you. I've got photographs of some of the sets. I went in there. I went into one of the studios and had a little walk around. So they had these little I almost look like moon kind of rover vehicles that they'd custom made. Cool. Yeah, mate, I'll see if I can find them and send them over to you. They're somewhere on one of my computers. But yeah,
I've got another one because in a parallel universe. Yeah, guess what I've done? I actually worked on Lost in Space, the actual movie.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, as a texture map artist.
Really? That's fantastic.
That's a great achievement, isn't it?
Yes, mate. So again, like I said, just chatting right there, that's fantastic. It's such a little, totally getting sidetracked away from our questions, but yeah, hey, Lost in Space. There we go.
Well, little snippets of information.
Yes, mate.
Yes, mate. Yes.
So, and again, almost going back to, when you were younger and the age where you first got into art, was your family, did they encourage it? Did you have any teachers that you remember that kind of stuck out, or your family members that really pushed you to chase it as a career?
Well, my dad didn't used to say anything because I think we're fathers. My dad in particular, he wanted me to become an architect.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't sort of like encourage me in any way to become an architect, he didn't encourage me into anything like art or design or anything. I think it was just because his best friend was an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think I sort of like annoyed my dad when I turned around and said, "No, Dad, I want to be a printer."
Yeah. I actually had a similar-ish experience, I'll be honest with you, because I'm not very good at drawing, Junior, at all, but I really enjoy it. I'm just actually doing right now a little, I use Procreate on iPad, and I'm doing a little digital recreation of an old Eclipse flyer, with the blessing of the artist, Johnny Martin. He's letting me kind of do it and then publish it, or not publish it, but share it. But yeah, my dad, when I was a youngster, he was similar to your dad. He thought I should be a businessman. He was like, the only way in life is to go to university, become a businessman, and do this kind of thing. So he kind of almost really pushed me away from doing something that I think I would have really loved. And actually, and like you said, you just brought up printing. So as in printing, do you mean like doing art to get printed, or do you mean running printing presses and working in a print shop?
Running something like, I think it was running printing presses. I think I just took something off the top of my head and sort of like told him really.
Yeah, that's crazy
When he got
because
to me about being a architect.
my dad is funny enough, and again, it's almost parallel universes, mate. My dad worked in an old print shop in Liverpool when he was younger, and I still have some little bits that were printed there. But he was in the offices; he was already kind of manager. But I ended up running a printing press for years. I think it was for about 13 years of my life, I ran a printing press. And
Yeah.
again, it was at the time I enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you, because it was kind of, I almost felt like you were creating something when as again, if you've run a press, Junior, you'll know there's that little balance of the water and the ink and the speed and the heat that you got to get right to get the colours to look good, right?
Yeah.
So how did that work in your favour then, Junior, when you started getting into art and things like that? Did you learn like airbrushing as you was learning and creating your art as a young age? Is that part of the process that obviously that helped you learn that before you got into flyers? Because obviously you was interested by the sci-fi part of art and everything like that. Did you take on the airbrushing?
The story goes back to when I was at school, doing art, because my art at that particular time was like more surreal. I didn't know what surrealism was yet, but it was strange. It was just basically objects doing strange things.
Okay,
yeah. And my art teacher, she basically believed in me. Yeah, and that's sort of like went through 2 years of A-level arts, because you have to do A-level arts for 2 years, so you can have that on file. So when you actually go for places that colleges, art school, you've got A-level arts.
Yep.
Yeah. I enjoyed my time at school, but they killed me off with a particular grade.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, they gave me an E for art.
God, really?
Got plenty of them, man. Don't worry.
And did that affect how you, obviously the future, what schools you could get into once you've got that grade from that teacher?
No, not really, because it's like the lovely thing is that other people that I went to see to get into colleges, they saw the potential in my art. Yeah. So I ended up with 3 offers to go to art schools. Yeah, and now, as you know, you can only pick one. So, that's it, because they could see that I could basically draw, and I've got a good eye for images, and I can basically structure my pictures quite good. So they basically gave me a chance.
So you actually had, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you actually had 3 schools approach you and offer you places?
No, 3 schools offered me places, because there comes a time here that you have to apply to art school.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent off the application for 3 art schools. Yeah, and I got 3 art schools, invited down for interviews, and I got accepted by all 3 of them. But as you know, you can only pick one.
Yeah.
So I picked Goldsmiths College in Lewisham.
Okay. Yeah.
And at the end of your course there, what was your actual final qualification? What's your title when you finished the art school?
Wow.
Graphic designer.
I don't stick the word dip after my name. Diploma.
So, what kind of art pieces did you that got you to be selected for these colleges? And after you finished colleges, what art pieces obviously defined you back then before you got into Rave Flyer art?
But to get accepted there, I think it was my coursework.
Yep.
Yeah, because my coursework that particular time was strong.
Yeah.
It showed my aptitude for drawing from life, drawing and other things. So that's basically got me accepted to art colleges.
Yeah.
But the lovely thing is that once you're there, you learn different skills and different disciplines.
For sure, yeah. So what type of art did you create in your coursework that stood out, obviously, for you to be noticed by these colleges? Yeah. Was it the same style you use in your flyers today, or was it a different style of art back then that you were learning?
It was a total different style, because there was a style where you can basically draw from life. So I had a lot of life drawing in there, And then every now and again, a creature will pop up or something here which is totally abstract. Because my work then was more abstract. It was surreal and abstract at the same time. Even though it was people-led, it was like object-led.
Oh, okay. And was there and what kind of like movies or things inspired that art back then at that particular time as well?
Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars, when it came to all, the high tech and the thing, Star Wars and things like that. I grew up with, like, Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Buck Rogers.
Blake Seven.
Wow.
Doctor.
Again, we're going back to the old Sundays TV in England right there, buddy.
Yeah. Captain Scarlet.
Yes,
Oh,
mate.
fuck yeah. That's bring back some memories, actually, yeah.
What about, actually, as soon as we're talking about movies and obviously the sci-fi kind of things, I believe you kind of obviously mentioned it before, but you had an interest in comics. Do you remember which were your favourites? Like, were you a Marvel guy? Were you a DC guy? Probably not Beano or Dandy, but I don't know. I used to collect the Beano myself.
I have never bought a Beano or a Dandy comic in my life. And that I can say I'm proud of.
See, now I'm ashamed because I had quite a good collection of Beano that I'm actually choked that I sold. I sold it when I left England 16 years ago. I sold my collection of Beanos, which I wish I'd kept. But anyway, now I feel very embarrassed. Sorry about that.
Okay. The first comic that I bought was Thor.
Yeah.
Oh, my favourite.
The American, the American ones. Yeah. With his mighty hammer Mjolnir.
Yes, mate.
Yes, mate. So that was your first comic, eh, Junior?
Yeah. Because when I was back at school, I enjoyed going to the library and reading about, like, would you believe, Norse mythology and mythology in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I like the Norse way of things. Yeah. You live a good death. You live a good life and you die a good death. And you get carted off to this wondrous place called Valhalla, where the Valkyries will sing at you and you tell tales of daring do and how you died on the battlefield.
Isn't that a bit of Mad Max as well, isn't it? The Valhalla stuff?
It could well be.
Yeah, the new one with Tom Hardy, yeah. They thought the same sort of thing, yeah, you live a good life and then if they spray their face with like silver and then they go to Valhalla, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a Viking thing, yeah. It's like, a Viking has to live good and die even better and always have a sword in his hand.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. That's wicked, man.
And I believe, didn't you used to kind of recreate some of the comic drawings for your buddies and stuff and hand it out at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to draw on tabletops.
Yeah.
Oh, we all used to...
I still do every now and again if I'm in a pub and there's a pen around.
When you're in a class and it's a bit boring, so what do? You scribbling away on the tabletop because you can't use your book. So.
Yeah. What did you used to have? I can remember getting in trouble, and actually my buddy took the rap for it. We used to have the old wooden desks. Remember the ones that used to have the flip-up lids?
Yes.
And we used to draw on the inside. They used to, like, if they'd see you drawing on the top of it, you'd get a slap on the knuckles, right, for sure, with the ruler. And but on the inside, we used to do them all up, and mine was pretty good. I think mine was all. It had like wild style kind of, the old graffiti Grandmaster Flash. I think I'd done the Jams logo on there and a few other bits. But
nice.
Yeah, mate. I wish I actually still had that desk.
What was the first kind of drawing you did then for your buddies? Like, did they ask you to do one for them, or was it kind of like?
I think it was the Incredible Hulk.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just wanted you to draw it and just like, hey, Junior, can you do us a comic?
Because they was all into comics as well. They was all into Marvel comics.
Yeah.
And there was like a little clique of people basically, talk about the comics that they bought. Yeah. And we used to go to one shop to buy the American imports.
Yeah. What was the name of the shop? Do you remember?
I can't remember the shop, but I can remember the road that it was on. It was on a road called Pennard Road in Shepherd's Bush.
Yeah.
I think I know where that is, yeah. Yeah. So when you was at school then, And you're obviously learning your different techniques. When did you start getting into airbrushing? Because is airbrushing part of your main technique for your flyers?
No, that was, yeah, it was. It was
Was it?
much later. It was
Okay.
when I went to college.
Okay, so what was you before that then? Obviously, you was just using pencils and
Pencil. It was
just
just pencil.
all pencil, eh? Have you still got any of that
Yeah.
art now?
I have got a few of the school art. Yeah.
That's fucking cool, yeah, man. I'd love to see what your previous like art was like at the beginning to what it was now. You know, to see the change of style and stuff like that. That'd be really interesting.
You know. And when we was at college, one of the things part of the syllabus, was we was taught, yeah, by this guy how to use an airbrush. So he taught us basically how to airbrush the three fundamental shapes. Triangle, circle, and square.
Square. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And if you do it in 3D, it's sphere. Yeah. What's it? Pyramid and cube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had to basically draw them all out and then put over the masking film, cut it out, and then start spraying. Yeah. So that stuck with me. Then I didn't do much reading. What I did, is that I did a little bit of research and found out, that tool was the one used by people who do science fiction book covers. Mm-hmm. So at that time at college, I wanted to do science fiction book covers.
Okay, yeah.
And did you ever end up getting any science fiction book covers done?
No, it's it was only years later when I made friends with a guy over in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually used one of my images for an anthology of science fiction stories.
Awesome.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
And again, so I almost want to just keep talking about the airbrushes too, because again, me personally, I've never used one. I think I bought a really cheap one when I was a kid and never really got it going. But obviously, there's a whole load of different models and equipment and different companies. Over the years, how many different, brushes have you had? How many machines? Do you still have any of your old ones? Do you still have your one that you started with that's your gem that you want to keep forever? You know what I mean?
I have all my airbrushes.
Yeah, nice.
Wow, man.
I still have all my airbrushes. When I started off my business, when I became self-employed, and I got a grant.
Yeah.
So I've still got my original airbrush, the one that created a whole lot of computer game packaging artwork.
Yeah, and do you still use it?
No, it's all digital now.
Yeah, so you're straight up digital. And that's actually, obviously that was one of the other questions that I was going to go to from this. So when did you transition from using the true airbrush, where you had to do all the proper masking and the amount of work involved? When did you transition over to digital, and how was the sort of software? Again, this is like a really kind of long-winded question, but the software you used then and then the software you use now, and how that's all developed since then, because I'm sure I know I've used Photoshop, like I said, I use Procreate. Things have changed, but they're still pretty much a similar thing. But yeah, what do you use and when did you start?
Yeah, because when I started it, I think it was like 98.
Okay.
Yeah, 1998. Yeah, because I was there brushing like record covers and then a whole lot of flyers, and it came to a point here where I wasn't getting my artwork back. Some of my artwork I wasn't getting back, so I just got fed up of people not returning my artwork. So I said, let's just go digital.
Yeah.
And when I went digital, I used a Macintosh, and I had this lovely program called Fractal Design Painter.
Okay. Never even heard of it myself.
Yeah. and that was the application that I used to produce my early digital stuff.
And did you use like a Wacom stylus or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the Wacom?
Wacom tablet.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually got one. I'm right now though. Like I said, I have a Wacom tablet. I don't know what model I've got, but
it could be an Intuos.
Yeah, it's a fairly large one. And like I said, I'd have to go and look, mate. I haven't even plugged it in for quite a while because I just got stuck with my iPad and the pencil that comes with the iPad. But yeah, those Wacom tablets are amazing things to use, hey?
Yeah.
And
yeah, they certainly are. They are, because I was using mine for years until I upgraded my iOS system, and it killed my Wacom.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah.
So
It's what they don't tell you. Yeah, you upgrade,
and now your old stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, so your old stuff don't work.
Yeah, thanks for that. Right. And do you ever still do any airbrushing on the side yourself, just for self, just for enjoyment?
Oh, the last time I'd done an airbrush piece, it was actually for a commission, because someone wanted me to recreate a particular flyer. Yeah, with the flyer where you got the guy holding the pill ready to put it in his mouth.
Okay, yeah.
As they say, you might have heard this one. The raves that initially got the flyer that initially got the rave banned.
Yeah, I think actually when we were chatting with Dave on the last interview with Dave, I think he showed that flyer, right?
Yeah, wasn't it because a letter was?
It looked like the E going into a mouth.
Yeah,
it was.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, the Rave World flyer.
Yes, mate.
But the O was
with the large mouth in space.
Yeah.
And
so
you swallowed the earth, but the end of the word E was on the earth.
And so, how long ago was that you did the commission for that one?
Boy, that was years ago.
Oh yeah, a little while ago. So since then, again, you haven't touched
20 odd years.
Oh really? Wow. And that's it. So it's been 20 years since you touched an airbrush, pretty much.
No, not really. It's been about 5 or 6 years, because someone commissioned me to recreate that particular piece.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
On canvas.
Yeah.
To put it on the wall.
Yeah. Nice. And actually, talking about commissions, then do you get many requests for commissions? I'm sure you do. There's a lot of people now, and again, even when we were talking to Dave, Fat Media Dave, there's such a big insurgence now of people collecting flyers again, and the whole, I don't know if it's to do with lockdown or everything that's going on, but yeah, it seems like it's a really popular thing. So are you getting a lot of requests for commissions at all?
Not so much. I've got a commission. Downstairs on the computer now, but this person's actually commissioned me before.
Okay.
Yeah? But I said to him straight that I'm going to do it digital, and he's okay with that, because I do it digital, get it printed, it gets sent back to me, and then I sign it, and then I ship it off to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My other airbrush commission was somebody asked me to recreate the Peace Fest man. The man with the large mouth and the fire coming out of his ears.
I think what we're talking about, this one.
Oh, that's him. That's him.
Can you see him?
That's Joe Raver.
Right.
Joe Raver.
Like I said, I've only got. I feel bad. I've only got 3 of yours. So I've got that one, and then I've got.
Yeah, that's his sister.
Right. I've got the
sister.
And then I've got the smaller version of the sister. And I thought I had more of yours. Like I said, I went through my stack this morning, panicking. I was like, oh. I could have sworn I had more, but yeah, no, that's all I got. But they're classic pieces again. And for me, when we were chatting to Dave, I spoke about it. When I first saw those images.
I must see if I can send you a few more.
Okay.
Both of you a few more.
Yeah. And like I said, when I first saw those images, Junior, back in the day, it blew my mind, mate. Because again, even back then, I was already, very much interested in drawing. And when I looked at your style and just the work that went into it, and again, so were they airbrush, or were those ones digital back then? They would have been
airbrush.
Yeah, they're airbrush. Yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. The techniques that you've put into it and everything you've done, it stands out from the crowd, mate.
So what was the time scale on creating that sort of flyer then, Junior?
That's a good question. Man.
Yeah.
It took me about 5 to 7 days.
Is that it?
First of all, yeah.
Wow.
But that's like solid 8 hours a day kind of thing, like going in like you're doing a day's work.
Not really. Say you spend like 3-4 hours on it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of some of the time is basically spent like doing the drawing, getting the drawing approved.
Yeah.
And then you go ahead to do the real thing.
Yeah.
But it's just very interesting. Yeah, it's that you can get carried away by putting in more detail and more detail and more detail.
Yeah, what was it? I was chatting with Johnny Martin the other day, who's a clips one I'm working on right now, and he said, "Yeah, you just need to know when to walk away, buddy."
That is so true.
Right? You just need to walk away.
That is so true. Or you can dabble with it and dabble with it and dabble with it, and there comes a point, where you can lose an illustration because you're going into it too much.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually, when I was chatting with Johnny, the beauty about the digital is at least you can just step back and undo it if you did go too far. Back in the day when you did it with airbrush, there's no turning back once you lay that paint down.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So you basically, with airbrush, you have to basically get it straight.
Yeah, mate.
Right, one time, and that's done.
And that's it, done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, June, I was going to say, to interrupt you there, what part of the picture would you start on first?
Sometimes that's when you start with the background.
Yeah.
Because the background is like the largest part of the piece. Because some of them you can start with the face.
Yeah.
You do the face first, you mask off the face, and then you do the background. Then you can stick in your detail or whatever. Because it's either or. You can either do the background or you can do the foreground. Yeah, but that's dependent on what elements are in the piece.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm just looking at his sister and I'm looking at him. So
I remember, because when you actually look at it, it's like if you can imagine all those bits in the face as separate items.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his eyes and his eye sockets have to be, cut out.
Cut out, masked off.
You have to put the mask back on to do the rest of it.
And then the mouth's going to be masked off, right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then when you have to do the masking for the fire coming out of his ears.
Yeah.
And then you've got one for the whole head with the ears. And then you can put in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And then even on the background, I'm sure, again, even just the bubbles, I'm looking at just, again, I'm just going to bring it back up. I'm looking at the little bubbles up here, right? Even doing that. Obviously, you've got to mask off that to get the shading,
I've got a circle cutter, so you can cut circles out of a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Put the paper on, spray around with airbrush white, and then before you know it, you've got a bubble, and you just want to do one little speck of white.
Just one little highlight,
the highlights, and then you got a bubble.
Yeah. Same with the eyes. Like, again, I'm looking at the eyes right now, and you can see where, you got your two circles, the main circle, you got your inner circle, and then you got your highlights and your bits coming out. But, like I say, it's amazing. And again, going back from doing it then to doing it digital, back then, you had to custom make every one of those little cutouts, right, to be able to do that. Now with the digital, you just use the software and it does it for you.
Yeah, because the cutouts there was done by Frisk film. It's like low tack adhesive. It's like it's semi-transparent, so it's slightly frosted, but you can basically see all the pencil line after you put it down on the board, and that's when you start cutting. Yeah, and instead of cutting another mask to put down to remask, I would use the same mask again, and all you do have to do is like position it, correctly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll get like a white edge line where the mask you didn't cut it right. But in those days, when you got a sharp scalpel and a keen eye, you can just do things edge to edge and no one would know.
So even right there, that's a whole nother skill, let alone the skill of using the airbrush. Just to be able to cut and get your masking right, that's a whole other skill. And actually, talking about the masks, do you have any of the old masks from all those old flyers, or are they all gone in the garbage now?
Boy, I think they're more or less gone because, as they said, they're just transparent masks. They're not. It wasn't like paper or card masks like graffiti artists. They're just basically like transparent, low tack adhesive. And once you use it once, twice, and it's covered in paint, you just get rid of it.
Gotcha.
But the sense of like pleasure is when you take off all the masking off of the piece to actually reveal the piece itself, and then you can go into it with what's it, colored pencils, yeah,
Okay.
Paint brushes, yeah, to add those little details, into it.
Okay, so you would actually use other mediums on top, your other materials on top of your airbrush. Interesting.
Yeah.
The other one I was going to ask again, I keep going on about the airbrushes, but models of airbrushes though, I did want to ask this one earlier. Is there any brand that you really like that you've stuck with, or have you changed different models and brands?
Yeah, the one that I started off with was Olympus.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a few aerographs, Badger.
Yeah, Badger. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had a Iwata once.
Iwata, I've heard of that name for sure. I think that's actually the local art shop I go to. I think that's the main brand they stock.
And the creme de la creme when it comes to like airbrushes is Pache Turbo.
Okay, and how much do they go for?
Yeah, like what something like that.
They go for a few hundreds.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's mental, isn't
it? And again though, so now you don't use them anymore. You've just got your one Wacom tablet. That's all you need. You've got the one piece of software, and you can pretty much do everything you want to do with that one thing now, right?
Yeah, because when I started off doing digital, I started using Photoshop.
Yeah.
But Photoshop in those days, it was clunky. It was not responsive. And what Photoshop did, every time you use the Wacom tablet, it basically like you running out of memory all the time, and then the whole thing will crash because it epped up the available memory. So I'm using like Photoshop. I'm doing a piece, and it kept on crashing. And then someone told me that every time Photoshop was to crash, it creates a temp file.
Okay.
And the temp file is basically like this file which is like hundreds of megs big. Yeah, that doesn't get deleted. So your whole machine is getting slower and slower
every time it crashes.
So you basically have to hunt down these temp files and delete them.
Wow.
I've got a question with regards to the flyers. How much would it cost with material and everything like that to make the flyer? Like the Peace Fest 92, like with the paint and your airbrush and everything like that.
I see.
How much would it cost to make one sort of project?
Yeah, from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Materials wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say £7 for the board, but the lovely thing, you buy one board and you basically can cut it in half. Yeah, so that could be done for like 2 pieces of artwork. But then you buy the inks. So if I was using like 10 different colors of ink, yeah, you're talking about like £2.50 for a small bottle of ink.
Really, just one?
Yeah.
Wow.
For one ink.
Yeah.
And so if you sort of like got more blue in your picture, you need more bottles of blue ink because you're gonna basically run out. Yeah. And then it comes to like you need the additional paintbrush, Caran d'Ache pencil. Yeah. And these pencils are like water soluble, so you can basically blend it with water as well.
That's cool, yeah.
And then your masking film, which costs about £10 for a small roll. Yeah, and then as you know, lighting and electricity, because at those times that I had a airbrush compressor. But before I had a compressor, I used to use like canisters of air that you buy for like £15 for a can of air. Yeah. And you screw your air hose into it. your air hose, then you got your airbrush, and then you start spraying. And if you spray continuously for about like 5-10 minutes, your can will overblow. It would just freeze up. It would just get icy cold.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes, yeah, it would just let out, discharge of like cold air, like, and you have to wait until the temperature, cools down.
Yeah.
But that's why, we have airbrush compressors. And some airbrush artists here would actually get one of those big ones, what you get from, say, the hospital, compressed air.
Yeah.
And use that, and they would last for months.
Wow. Okay. Tricks of the trade then, Junior, eh?
Yeah, there's old tricks of the trades.
And actually, almost talking about that too. Then, what about studio spaces? Like when you first started off, where were you doing it? Were you in your mum and dad's spare bedroom, or were you in the garage, or you know what I mean? And then sort of what have you got now for a studio space? Do you have something custom built?
When I started the airbrushing, I airbrushed from my bedroom.
Yeah. And your mum was okay with the paint in your room and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, she was cool with it.
Yeah.
But see, the lovely thing is that I wouldn't have had any space at all if my sisters didn't leave the house. You see, because it's like me and my two sisters. Yeah. One by one, they both left the house, so I moved into their bedroom, which was like double the size of mine. Nice. So I had my drawing board, my compressor down on the floor, and I could just airbrush to my heart's content because I got the room.
Yeah. With no extraction, no fans, no filters, just sat there sucking in paint.
Apart from my mask.
Yeah, just you used to wear your mask. Good man.
Because before I didn't have a mask yet, you blow your nose and got this like rainbow dunk coming out. If you're using a lot of blue, you said, "Oh, good Jesus! I thought it's not supposed to be green, not blue."
And then what about now? What have you got now? Do you have yourself like a nice little custom space made, or do you use someone else's space, or what do you got going on?
The lovely thing is, that I've got a room downstairs. That's where I basically do all the work from.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was doing a lot of my work, when I moved into this flat over 30 years ago, I was basically airbrushing from this very room.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I had the drawing board all set up and I was basically airbrushing. But there came a time here where I had the one or two pieces there, which was like bigger than the drawing board, so I had to basically lash it to the wall and then airbrush it.
That's wicked.
Yes, mate.
So you lived there for 30 years, eh?
Yep, 30 years plus.
Wow, long old time, my friend.
So I'm almost gonna pop backwards again. We're almost going backwards, but Rave. Let's go back to Rave flyers. Which was the first one that you actually had printed? Which was the promoters? Did they approach you? Did you send artwork to them just to see if you could get on the Rave flyers, or how did that sort of occur?
Yeah, the first one was called Rave World. And what happened with that one, is that I was at the offices of Kicking Records.
Okay.
Yeah, because I used to do record covers before I done Rave flyers.
Okay, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
So you were doing record covers before flyers, hey?
Yeah. So at the offices of Kicking Records, there was a promoter there who was putting on his first rave. And the lovely thing about that is that some of the acts who was on the Kicking Records record label was going to be at this guy's rave. Yeah. And I was introduced here by the manager, Peter Harris, to this promoter, and he asked me, I need a flyer done. Yeah, can you do it? And I said yes. The stipulation here was they didn't have a lot of money to do a full color job. It went to basically in 3 colors, rather than 2 colors or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I done my first Rave World piece of artwork with the 3 floating heads.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
I'm not sure if I have, mate. Actually,
is that the red, the green, and the blue three heads?
I'm not. I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm not 100%. I'd have to dig it out, but we'll get
Can I stand up?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
Got that one? Right, let me sit down. You know when you're trying to find things and things are basically hiding from you?
Yes, mate. I get that every day.
It's
normally my car keys. Yeah.
Story of my life.
Right. Oh wow.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I again, I'm not one of those hardcore collectors like I know some of the groups out there are, but that's amazing. I don't even know if I've seen that before, Junior. That's amazing. And again, like we said, we can get some digital images and we'll get Brad to throw them up in post edit so people can see.
Yeah,
nice
I'll send you these ones as well.
Yeah.
This was done in like 1992, if I remember correctly.
Nice. Do you still have
my first flyer for Rave World?
And sorry, I know you said that some of the promoters and the guys didn't send your artwork back, but do you have any of the old original artwork still, or have they all kind of gone? Oh yeah, you do.
I got the majority of them back.
Yeah, perfect.
But as I said, that came to a point here where I wasn't getting it back.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to do it digital because all I can do is I can send them a file.
Yes.
Send them a disc.
Yeah.
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 Well, I was going to ask about the turnaround for the promoters. If they gave you we need a flyer done ASAP, like in a day, night before. Did you have any projects that were such a quick turnaround for some of these nights?
I had a few of them there. Where I'd done one for Peace Fest.
Yeah.
I think I had basically like a day or two just to do it.
Wow. No pressure then.
Oh yeah, no pressure.
Right.
But I basically think, work out, how am I going to do this? And because it was like Peace Fest, I decided on half black, half white woman, with a very colourful background.
Yes, I know that one. Yeah, I do know that one for sure. That's a great flyer.
Yeah, and the guys would say, "Well, yeah, Junior, we can't pay you now, but you have to, you come down to the rave and we'll pay you."
Yeah,
it didn't tick.
And did they?
Yeah, so the story was they put on the rave, and they said, "Yeah, come down and get your money." So I got on my bike, literally got on my bicycle with the light and all the gear, cycled down to Curtin Road, Old Street.
That's fantastic.
To find the promoter and get my money.
Did he pay you?
Yes, I got paid.
Excellent.
If you pay for your work, that's what it
But you had
matters.
to get on your bike to get the money. That's fucking classic, mate.
I fucking go and get it.
Now I got to ask: was the light a dynamo? Did you have to put the wheel on the tire to make the light work? Was it that old school?
No, it wasn't.
No.
I think that was my Muddy Fox.
Yeah, nice.
Muddy Fox Courier.
Have you done any collaborations with your art? Because obviously, if you're throwing an event or the promoter throws an event, is there any collaborations you've done for like a festival or anything like that with your art?
No, I would say no. No, I haven't done any collaborations. Not that I can think of.
No. I know, like Dave. I think Fat Media Dave actually this weekend. I was messaging him yesterday. He's doing a pop-up thing with some of Flyer guys. But have you ever done exhibitions with any of the artists where you guys have had your work out together or any stuff like that?
Yes, there was an exhibition at the Aquarium nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was all part of like. I don't have to know Billy Bunter.
Yeah, I don't obviously personally know Billy Bunter, but the name Billy Bunter is pretty infamous.
Yeah. He put on this thing called The Story of Rave, where he had a whole lot of like people from the old school, the industry, telling their stories and on the stage, like a panel thing, plus the DJs that started the whole scene.
Yeah.
And Billy had the space for me and Pez to display our artwork, and plus Chaos, another artist, was to do like some of the backdrops, and that was quite good. That was.
You know what I think would be super cool is if there was a few of you guys at some event like that where you actually did something live. Like I know sort of almost like a graffiti artist do it every now and again, where they'll be, okay, we'll do an outside space and you get a whole load of good names together where they can just have a little slice of the pie and do their piece. I think that would be something pretty amazing to see, would be if, like you said, there was yourself, Pez, Chaos, maybe even Dave Little kicking around and get a few guys to do something, right?
I did do a team up with Pez.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did half a piece. Somebody said, let's have got a good idea, to give money to auction a piece by me and Pez and give it to charity for the homeless.
Yeah.
So Pez done his half, woman's face, and then I done the other half. Then it was auctioned.
Awesome.
So that was an awesome team up.
Do you have a digital copy of that image that we could post up afterwards?
I think I might have.
That'd be great.
Nice guy, top guy.
Yeah, I love it. Again, very obviously similar, not same, but similar-ish style with his airbrushing. And again, sort of when I was a kid collecting flyers and going to raves, your guys' artwork just stood out to me because I just love the whole shading and that style of the work, right? So, yeah, I'd love to see that one. If you did have a copy, that'd be great, mate.
Yeah, I searched my pictures. It also could be online as well.
Yeah, we can.
A lot of things do make it online.
Yeah.
So I'll have a look and send it to you.
It might even be on Fat Media. We'll have to check with Dave, see if he's got a copy. He's got pretty much a copy of everything, that boy. And then, so again, talking about kind of, the newer stuff and things, tell us a bit. I know we sort of mentioned it when we were chatting on messages there, Junior, but you've got your book out. Tell us about your book and how did that come about? How much work went into it? Like, how long did it take you? How hard was it picking images you wanted to use? Do you know what I mean?
Getting it published and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The lovely thing here is that Colin, the publisher of the book, he came to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was a fan of my work from years ago, and he sent me an email. And he introduced himself, and he said, "Don't you think it's about time that you had an art book, dedicated for your arts?" And the specific was, the record covers that are done, and the Rave flyers.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a good idea, because I was thinking of the idea of such a book, myself, because my idea would have been the book that writes itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book that writes itself. It's where you put it out there for all the the ex-ravers who's been to the raves, who've seen my work, who's collected them. For them to have a quote about each individual piece.
So there is obviously like descriptions and how it came about, stuff like that in there. It's not just images.
Yeah, but that wasn't to be. But it's nice, but I still got their recollections though. Yeah. And the lovely thing is, that because I've got it all on the computer, it's like I can release one every now and again on the net. Yeah, because it's got the text for individuals and what they wrote down and sent me.
Okay.
I can basically post it up, and that'll be quite sweet.
Yeah.
To put them in the frame, to honour them because of them. Backing me for all these years.
For sure.
They'll give something back to the people.
How many pages is it? Like, how many images are in there?
160 pages.
160 pages. Wow.
Yeah, it's on Velocity Press. This one you might know. Yeah. Do you remember a magazine called Knowledge Magazine?
Knowledge, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first drum and bass magazine back in the day.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
kind of roughly know
It
some
definitely
drum-
rings a
drum
bell,
bass,
mate. Yeah. I mean, I was obviously like everyone. I have my DJ mag and I have my mix mag. But Knowledge, I definitely do remember that one.
Yeah.
I've never bought any copies myself personally, but right on. Now, I think I've seen you post an image of that one,
Yeah.
right? And so is that the cover of your book now? That's your present book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the cover then, Junior, did you use did you create a new art for the front cover, or did you use previous art for the front cover of the book?
I used previous arts.
Yeah.
Because the front cover is basically the first record cover that I done. Yeah.
Okay.
Done in 1989 for Renegade Soundwave.
Renegade Soundwave.
Renegade, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Space Gladiator.
Yeah, I think I might have one of their tracks somewhere in my little stack of wax behind me. Yeah.
And so I wanted to basically have that as the front cover.
Yeah.
So what I did is that behind the Space Gladiator, you've basically got a whole lot of the other record covers that you can just basically make them out, and it started in the shaft of light.
Yeah.
That's fucking wicked, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Fair play to you, man. Fair play.
Was it hard, like, deciding what order you were going to put the images in the book, or did you just do it in order of
like
time-wise? Yeah, was it a timeline thing kind of thing?
No, that's it. Not done by timeline. It was done by company. The first company that I worked for, and it went down from there.
Okay.
So when it comes to like record covers, the first company I worked for was Mute Records, and then Vinyl Solution, then Kicking.
Yeah.
So it's gone in work order.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the other half of the book here, which is to do with like Rave Flyers. So it starts off with Rave World, and it basically goes down the lists.
Gotcha. So it's organizations. Yeah. It's either labels and then organizations. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Super cool.
Each chapter, each bit has got a little bit about me working with that particular record company or Rave Flyer organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a description of each flyer and how it was created.
That's super cool. I mentioned to you I was going to buy a copy of it so that we could have it here for the show, but I knew I wasn't going to get it from the UK to Canada in time. But I am definitely going to grab a copy of that book. And like you said, just so everyone knows out there, it's on velocitypress.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, see, that's so cool too, mate. Hey.
Yeah, because because that image on the back here is from like one of my favorite flyers that I've done for Slamming Vinyl.
Slamming Vinyl. I think I've got some of those in my stack too.
I called her Robotic Carly.
Robotic Carly.
Yeah,
did you always come up with names?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. Every single one of them got a little name.
Made a family with flyers as well, brother and sister.
And how long ago did that get published, Junior? How long has it been out and available?
It came out June last year.
June last year. Cool. And how are sales going? Has it been pretty accepted? Like,
no, it's going good.
Yeah.
Every day I'm trying to find more people to buy it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to buy a copy.
Two guys here.
Yeah,
man,
we're going to buy a copy
right
now. So.
Great. Tell all your friends.
Yeah, tell all your friends.
The good thing is as well, when we spoke to other people like Dave and other people as well, is that the younger generation actually showing a lot more interest in this rave memorabilia art and stuff, right? They're really getting into it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because it was my idea also, to see if I can get into schools talking about the book, talking about my artwork, and inspiring the kids to get into arts and music.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
I like to come over there to Canada and do the same over there.
Yeah, mate.
Do you think? Because again, like if you go into the schools, I mean, you're like a veteran in the airbrushing sort of game, right? So there's obviously techniques that you've done that you could show kids in schools and be like, hey man, this is a technique I used back in the day, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can, teach them, that technical skills and other things when it comes to like digital art.
Yeah.
Do you ever get anyone approach you that wants to sort of learn stuff off you? Have you ever had that sort of through your career?
Yeah. Because I've had a few people where I'm teaching them how to use Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, Illustrators, I've played with it a couple of times, the vector side of things, and it's one of those programs you've got to, well, for me anyway, you've got to use it quite a lot. If you stop using it, I'm kind of one of those guys. If I don't play with it for a while, I've almost got to get my book back out and start learning. So you teach people Illustrator here?
Yeah, because Illustrator is more powerful than what people give it credit for.
Oh, yes, it is, man. That's a pretty powerful program here.
Because you probably heard people say, yeah, look what I've done in Photoshop. Photoshop is the king, is the bollocks. Yeah. And then I do something in like Illustrator, and people say, I can't really believe that I've done it in another in Illustrator, you know?
Yeah. And obviously it's the difference between your bitmap and your vector, right? Anyone that does digital art's gonna know that, you know, your Photoshop's more bitmap based. You're never gonna get it quite as clean looking, but when you go to Illustrator, now you've got your super vector clean lines and everything changes. It's a game changer, right?
Yeah, because the thing about the Photoshop is like the bitmap program.
Yeah.
So it relies heavily on DPI to make the image crisp and sharp.
Exactly, right? Same as Procreate, the one I'm messing around with now on the iPad. Yeah. That's a bitmap-based software, right? Yeah. So you're never going to get it to look crisp like you do with Vector, right? Ever.
Yeah, because you can do it, but the resolution will have to be extremely high.
Yeah. So so I was going to say, so I'm wrong then. You personally, you can get a bitmap program like Photoshop to look as crisp as Vector, because me personally, and again, mate, I just play around with it. I'm not an artist, but mine still always look bitmappy. You know what I mean?
You can get a bitmap program like Photoshop to look, you know, crisp as Illustrator, but as I said, the trade-off is, your resolution for that image, would not be 300. It'll probably be something like 800 or 900.
Yeah,
which means that you can blow it up bigger and it will still retain its quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a vector file now. Yeah, I can blow that up to infinity and it'll still be sharp.
It'll still be sharp
do that
all the way.
Like a bitmap file.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can start to see the grain. They start to get jagged and fuzzy.
Yeah. Pixelated shit,
yeah. Interesting. I almost want to bug you more about how to make the bitmap one look good. But that's a whole different conversation.
More resolution.
Right, more resolution. There you go. That's the key. Anyone out there? More resolution.
So I kind of want to go on to the music side of things, Junior. What was your sort of go-to genre? What rave did you first go to?
Yeah, did you actually go to any of the raves?
Yeah.
Good question, Brent.
Yes, I went to a few raves. Yeah, I went to one or two Rave Worlds.
Okay.
You know, quite interesting. And I also went to one slamming vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, over at the Astoria.
The Astoria, I went to one night there. Only one night in the Astoria, but fuck me, was that a good venue. Oof. So literally you've only went to, those few. It wasn't a big part of your thing.
Yeah, it wasn't like, a regular thing.
No.
But I only went to the ones that I got invited to, the ones that I done the flyers for.
Oh, for sure, right?
Yeah.
I would have, if I'd done any flyer for anyone, I would have been like, I want in on the party. If I'm going to draw your picture, let me in the door. But and was that pretty much a given? If you did the flyer for them, would you pretty much?
Well, because I would say, I'm coming. Yeah. And I say, put my name down on the guest list and say, okay.
Yeah.
Walk straight up and be like, I'm the artist of these flyers, let me in, please.
Yeah. Also, when you were riding down on your bike to get paid.
So I don't stop when it comes to Monopoly. I got that pass, so I can go straight for the door.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice.
Beauty, mate.
So what genre of music then is it? Because obviously you mentioned drum and bass. Alex, I grew up with drum and bass, and was that sort of the style of music you was into?
I grew up with like instrumental reggae.
Nice.
The dub.
Yeah, the dub, man. Yeah. Because I used to go to Notting Hill Carnival, man, a lot before I moved to Canada, pretty much every year. And
cool.
Yeah, man, I fucking love it. It's great. I go a lot with my friends, and the stages are wicked. The food's great.
Did you used to walk down Labrador Grove?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we used to do the whole thing, man. We used to do, like eat the foods,
Okay.
go to stages, watch the actual carnival like
Yeah.
parade down the road,
Do
right? And
you do you remember a pub on Labrador Grove called the Eagle?
I don't. I know I went down Labrador
you-
Road when I went there as well myself, but the pub, nah.
you're you're kind of testing my memory there.
Well, yeah. It's like you have to pass a fire station, and then the next block is a pub.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're on about. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If I've got it right, I may be totally wrong, but I think in my mind, I think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and then further up the road, you've got a bridge.
Yeah.
Well, I live around there.
Oh, you do, eh? Oh,
So
nice.
in other words, you pass my door.
I might have passed the door many times.
There you go.
And is that kind of the area you grew up? You pretty much live where you grew
Yeah,
up?
born and bred.
Born and bred, eh? Good for you, bro.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, never left the area. Only when I was like living in Camberwell for about 2 years when I was going to like Goldsmiths College.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because most of my family are from London, so, and then we moved out to like Kent area. So yeah.
He's a London boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The other thing I was gonna go on to, because we're kind of, getting towards the end, but obviously we've talked about your book. Do you have any upcoming future projects? Do you have any kind of things that you've been approached for that you're working on right now? Obviously you might not want to tell everyone, but if there is anything, have you got things coming up?
Yes, I've done an album cover for a Afro funk band called OCBisa, from the
OCBisa.
70s.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done their album cover and I've recently done their single. And I also got covers coming out by, oh boy, what are they called? It's called Call in the Hardcore.
Call in the Hardcore. So an old kind of rave thing almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did they approach you to work on that? Obviously, I'm sure.
Well, I would you believe these people? Yeah, Sammy. I met them down at the aquarium
Okay.
when that show was on.
Yeah.
So we kept in touch. He asked me, saying that he wanted the record cover. So I done the first record cover, and now I've just finished my third one for him. Was it fourth one?
That's pretty.
So
cool.
that's gonna be released.
Yeah.
Then there's another cover called another company called Good to Go. That's out there. And also look for Super Nice Cables.
Super nice cables.
Nice tables.
So you're keeping busy by the sounds of it, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey?
And then in about a month's time, I what's also going to be coming out on supermarket shelves is cans of non-alcoholic beer with my images on.
No way. Really?
Yes.
Nah, mate.
That's
so you're
cool,
going to have
mate.
your images on cans of
Yes,
beer
I'm
in like
shocked for
Tesco's and Waitrose and shit like that. It's going to have cans of beer with
I
Junior
don't know where he's
Tomlin
going to like market and sell them yet, but I think that's one of the crowning achievements of like 2020.
on. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, hats off to you, man. That's
Yeah, I'd be stoked if I walked down any supermarket and saw my artwork on a can of something. I'd be stoked, mate. Even if it was a can of beans, I'd be made up.
Can't pay beans.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I see you has quite a few pictures with like a DJ rap on your Instagram and stuff. Like, obviously, you've met quite a few famous DJs and artists and stuff. Is there any sort of other sort of famous people you've met that obviously in your travels?
Or not as much as like high profile with DJ rap and Billy Bunter. Who's that other guy? Boy. Oh, my brain's just gone flat.
No worries,
My
man.
brain has just gone as flat as a flat white.
That's all good. I thought I was just asking, because I saw you have a picture of DJ Rap and she's like fucking cool as fuck.
Oh, I gotta admit, I always had. I mentioned this on one of
because
the other shows.
yeah, because I went to her birthday party because she was like, launching her book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And that was the same event here where I met, Sammy, that I'd done the record cover for. So, because if you got the book, things are a whole lot interconnected.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we'd got the copy of the book. Like I said, we just didn't quite have time to get it here. But
yeah, that's the thing.
We'll get a copy, and we'll maybe on one of our other shows we'll sort of talk a little bit. Just me and Brad one day. We'll bring it up and we'll show some more pictures and some of the stories, and we can relate.
Yeah.
Some things like that.
Feel free to call me up if you do that.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah,
man. I don't mind for it. Another go.
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We got a studio space here as well, and we thought it'd be good to have in the background as well, and just as part of, because we obviously got the instruments, we got the vinyl. It'd be good to have in our shots as well.
So, are you two musicians?
Nah, mate. Like
I am.
Brad's a producer. He's done quite a bit of stuff, Brad?
Just some stuff, yeah. I've done quite a few things.
But me now, I'm just a guy that's got some toys and plays around, and I've still got all my vinyl from back in the day. I never could get rid of that.
No, you create.
Right, there you go.
Don't play around. You create.
I create, yeah. I'm definitely not going to be one of those guys that gets old and doesn't have a hobby. Let's put it that way. Right? Between DJing for myself and playing some little bits of music for myself and drawing for myself, I keep myself pretty busy and entertained, much to my wife's dismay.
Did you get into any DJing, Junior, like in the past, for doing these things for the raves and stuff? Did it ever encourage you to think, I might buy a set of decks and some vinyl and stuff?
The idea of buying decks, it came through my head and then it passed the same way. It's just that when you're making art and doing art, I know that spitting and making music would have been something else. I've been in a booth with like DJs actually mixing, so I've seen all what it entails, and it's just like it's a slog.
Yeah,
it's like being in a cave making something, hammering away at something with like you've got no lights, you just no outdoor lights, so you don't know what time it is. You just keep it mixing. You're sort of like getting thinner and thinner. Those people are true heroes.
Yeah, I always used to say about DJing, wow, really, you're just playing other people's music, which you are, but a good DJ, when they know which track goes with the next track and how to really beat mix or whatever style they're doing, it is still a skill. It's an instrument. Those two turntables and a mixer, that's basically one instrument right there. You know what I mean?
But I have been in like 3 drum percussion bands.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so I play djembe.
Yeah.
And bongos.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I think anything to do with like music or the art that you create, it is all art, right? And that's why
it's all creating, right?
Yeah, that's why when we done this podcast, we thought we're going to cover all aspects of the music side of things, because it all intertwines. It's all the creative mindset, right? When you do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, music, art, film, television, singing, dancing. It's all part of the interconnected thing, like a certain part of your, hemisphere does.
Absolutely.
Because there's people who basically make music and say, I could draw as well. And if you can draw, guess what? You could design buildings.
Yeah.
So it's a certain mindset that creatives have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I call that the geek gene, because anybody who's creative is a geek.
Yeah, I agree. My wife actually permanently calls me and Brad a pair of geeks. Every time we're playing around here with cameras and lights and we're trying to change things, she just walks down, shakes her head, and it's like, God, you pair of geeks. But it's true. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's that, cultivate and feed the inner child.
Yeah, I don't think I found my inner geek till I was in my mid-20s. I was a little shit when I was a kid.
But once you found it, Brad, you found it, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, once I found the inner geek, I am now a massive geek. Massive
Yeah, it's
music.
called Geek Power.
There you go.
Exactly, yeah.
My daughter, actually, it's funny you say that, Geek Power. My daughter did, it's one of my proud moments, actually. She did one of those TED Talks years ago when she was a kid, and it was just a speech about what you want to do when you grow up. But part of her speech was, it wasn't go geeks, but it was just like, yeah, I'm a nerd. And then she put a little fist up and she's like, go nerds. And the whole crowd just kind of started laughing. Right? It's awesome, Junior. It's been so nice having you on the show, buddy.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much for coming on, mate. It's been such a nice chat. Really feel like we got to know you. I hope everyone that's watching is going to enjoy it. I hope everyone that's watching is going to go and look at your book. Like you said, velocitycity.com, right?
No, VelocityPress.
VelocityPress.com.
Yeah. I'll send you all necessary links and more pictures.
Yeah, and we'll, like I said,
thanks,
Brad in post-edit will get some of those up for you, Junior, and we'll see how it looks, and I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy this little show, and I really did, Junior. It was a great chat, mate. It's a pleasure having you on, buddy.
It was awesome.
I'd just like to say also, obviously, because I'm a younger guy and I wasn't around for this sort of time, it's obviously been a pleasure for me to understand the processes of how you did your artwork from when you started to what you do now, and being involved in the rave scene, and how much you've sort of gained and achieved with your art. So the hard work has paid off, and to me that's a big, massive thing, man. I've really enjoyed today's show, so thank you for coming on today, Junior.
Yeah, my pleasure. Because I always intend to push the boundaries of my art and and it's constantly in the state of evolution.
Yeah, and that's it's beautiful to hear that you still feel like that. You still got that passion. You're still working. You're still, again, just hearing you say that is a fantastic thing, mate.
Yeah, because it's the only thing that I've ever done, and it's the only thing that I know.
Yeah, and obviously you're pretty good at it, buddy.
And the good thing as well, man, is that the younger generation are going to look up and just see, hey, man, this guy done this artwork. He done the hard work, and it's paid off, and it's fantastic art. So yeah.
So anyone out there as well, like if it's something you love and you want to follow your goals and live your dreams,
yes,
right?
Yeah, and don't let anybody talk you out of it and try to belittle your art and your passion.
100%, mate.
100%, yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yes, mate. Thank you very much, Junior.
Junior, thanks
You're
again,
welcome.
man.
Cheers,
It's been
buddy.
an absolute pleasure.